In this video, I want to show you how you can edit video in Photoshop to address a specific issue. I saw this question in a Photoshop Facebook group where someone asked, was it possible to deal with an overexposed video in Photoshop? And I saw some responses that said things like, Photoshop isn't designed for video, or you can't edit video in Photoshop. Well, actually you can, but to be fair, I wouldn't want to edit a long video in Photoshop. But the beauty of doing small edits in Photoshop is you can apply the same principles to video that you would with the still image. So for example, if you had an image that was a little underexposed, a video that was underexposed, you would treat it the same way you would in Photoshop for a still image by using an adjustment layer or the Camera Raw filter. So yes, one of the beauties of doing short video editing in Photoshop is you can actually apply Camera Raw as a filter to a video. So here I'm just going to make a new image, which is 1280 by 720. And the one thing I have to do for video is I have to make sure the timeline panel is showing. Mine is already, but if you didn't see it, look under the window menu. Here it is here. So the first thing is I have to turn this basic image into a video timeline just by clicking on that button. And then you'll see right here on this where it says layer 0, there's a small button that says add media. So this is where we go to get our media. So here's the video that's our overexposed video. So I'm going to delete this unnecessary part. Here's the video. Now, one of the things you generally need to do with a video in order to be able to transform it and add filters is convert it to a smart object. However, it's still video, which is kind of the cool thing. So it has the principles of smart objects like smart filters, but you still see and can edit the entire video. So let's do Command or Control T for free transform, fit in window, and then we'll scale it down to fit and hit enter. So at this point, I want to, I can move through it and look. This is the part where, yes, Photoshop is not the best tool in the world for working with video because it can be a little slow just to render everything, but at least it'll give me an idea. So let's fit in window here, fit on screen, and go and apply the Camera Raw filter. So when it opens up, it looks just like Camera Raw because, well, it is, and we can go through and see, well, let's see what we could try. Maybe dehaze and lower the highlights and the whites. Maybe take the saturation just down a little bit for the foreground. But you can see, again, it's so overexposed that the sky and the water, there's really no detail there, and that's going to be pretty tough to deal with no matter what we do. But it's already a little better, and in this example, really, just like with a still image, if it was that overexposed, you wouldn't be able to edit it. It's the same thing here. Now, one interesting side note is with smart filters, I could actually add a second, in effect, instance of the Camera Raw filter. So when I do that, it starts again. So now, for example, I could try lowering the exposure a little more. You can see I can just see I'm not going to get anywhere with this, but just want to at least show you the principle that you can indeed work with video in Photoshop, especially if it's a short clip like this one. Now, as far as the other areas, it'd be nice if we could drop in a sky and mask it, but of course you can't mask something that's moving. So unfortunately, that wouldn't provide the ideal solution. Now, we could try, it's not going to work in this case, but I could try, for example, adding another layer. I'm going to move it outside of this video group so that on the video timeline, I can put it on top and then stretch it to fit the whole thing. And for example, and again, this is not going to be a really good solution, but just to show you the idea that we could add a layer and then change a blend mode to something that might help. That's obviously not going to really do anything in this case, but you get the idea that we could apply some kind of layer or another adjustment layer or something of that nature. Now let's pretend for a moment that this actually did work. The final step is, now that we're in Photoshop and this is really like a layer document, we have to export it back out again as video. So again, assuming that this actually worked and fixed it the way we wanted, we would go to Export, Render Video. Because it's not just a regular Photoshop file, it takes a second or two longer, and then we have all the normal options for what to call it and where to save it, and all video options. Typically use the Adobe Media Encoder and then use a format like H.264, high quality, same size, same frame rate, etc. And there are other options which someone who, if you were working with someone who was requesting video, might add certain video requirements, but normally that's it, and you hit the render button and you're done. So as you saw in this case, wasn't able to recover those blown out, overexposed areas, but frankly, no video editing software would. So it wouldn't matter if you're using a dedicated program like Premiere or something else. It's the same thing as working with a still image. If it's that overexposed, then unfortunately, you're kind of out of luck. And so, needless to say, I wasn't able to fix the video in this case, but I want to at least show you that for fairly short videos, and I've done videos up to about 5 or 10 minutes, probably at the max, because then you have to wait a while for everything to work. But it's pretty cool, the ability to apply the principles of editing a still image to a moving image without have to do it frame by frame, just by doing it globally, thanks to things like smart filters, camera raw, and adjustment layers. I'm Dave Cross from learningphotoshop.cc. Thanks for watching.